Silence builds what noise never could: power, purpose, and permanence. There is a quiet strength that belongs only to those who understand the value of silence. It is not the silence of inaction, nor is it the silence of fear. It is the silence of preparation. This is where the seed of greatness takes root. In the stillness of your own mind, when the world is not watching, your thoughts become sharp, deliberate, and ordered with purpose. It is in this space of solitude that true power begins to form. Most people rush to speak, they rush to prove, they rush to be noticed. But legends do not rush, legends do not beg for validation. They operate from a different law entirely. A law that says, I will become so strong in private that no one can question me in public. That kind of power is not built in the light. It is built in the dark, in the quiet, in the sacred space where there is no applause. When a man or woman desires to change their life, the first step is not a loud declaration. It is a quiet decision, one made alone, one made with deep intent, and one kept close to the chest. Why? Because silence protects the flame of that decision until it becomes a roaring fire. When you speak too soon, you invite the wind of outside opinions, and wind, no matter how gentle, can extinguish a spark that hasn't taken hold yet. Do not confuse noise for momentum. Do not confuse attention for achievement. Real growth often goes unnoticed at first. Think of the roots of a tree. Before it grows tall and visible above the earth, it spends weeks, months, sometimes years spreading its roots deep underground. Why? Because if the foundation is shallow, the first storm will topple it. So too must your growth be rooted in quiet preparation. Let the foundation of your power run so deep in silence that no outside storm can shake it. It is not weakness to remain quiet. It is not hiding. It is training. And the wise know that the time to speak is not during the preparation phase. It is when the fruit begins to show. And when that moment comes, you will not need to tell the world who you are. The world will see it. Your presence will speak. Your results will roar. Every champion was once unknown. Every icon was once invisible. Every legend was once ignored. What made them rise was not their noise. It was their discipline and silence. They woke up when no one else did. They trained when no one else watched. They studied while others slept. And every quiet act, repeated day after day, compounded into greatness. Not overnight, not with fanfare, but with patient consistency. You must learn to fall in love with the sound of your own footsteps in an empty room. You must take pride in the unseen hours, in the invisible progress. For every day you stay silent and focused, you are stacking bricks, bricks that will one day become your castle. Let others talk, let them distract themselves with noise. You build in silence. There is a magnetic power in someone who is silently rising. They move differently, they speak less, but say more. Their eyes hold focus, their walk carries purpose. You can feel the energy of someone who has been building something sacred behind the scenes. And one day, when they arrive, the world will call it overnight success. But they will know. They will know the truth. That legend was born in silence. You must respect your journey enough to protect it. You must honor your dream enough to keep it close, like a treasure. And you must understand that the world does not reward the loud, it rewards the effective. Let your silence be your strategy. Let your results be your volume. Let your legacy be so undeniable that it speaks for you long after you're gone. So today, make a vow to yourself not to shout, not to prove, but to become. Become the kind of person who doesn't need to convince anyone, because they have already convinced themselves. Become the one who walks quietly but carries unshakable conviction. And know this, when the time comes to speak, your silence will have already told the story. Your power is not in what you say. Your power is in what you build when no one is watching. That is where legends are born. There is a voice within every man and woman, a quiet whisper that says, you are capable of more. This voice is pure. It is untouched by the world's fears. But the moment you speak your dream aloud, the world begins to answer. And not all voices are kind. Some will doubt you. Others will laugh. Many will project their own failures onto your ambition. This is why the wise guard their vision with silence. Because silence protects that inner voice before it is strong enough to withstand outside noise. Doubt is a thief. It does not come for the man who hides. It comes for the one who steps forward, especially the one who speaks too soon. The moment you utter your plans, you open the door to other people's limitations. And most people, whether they mean to or not, will try to shrink you back down to their comfort. But when you remain silent, you keep your faith insulated from their fear. Understand this, you do not owe anyone an explanation while you are becoming. You do not have to broadcast your process to feel progress. In fact, the more sacred your goal, the more quietly it should be pursued. Why? Because early exposure invites criticism, and criticism is poison to belief, especially in its infancy. Greatness must be incubated. Like a seed in the soil, your desire must be allowed to take root in darkness. Only then can it grow strong enough to break through the surface, to face the wind, to handle the weather. Speaking too early is like digging up a seed to show it to someone. It stops the growth. The soil must stay undisturbed. The world is full of people who quit because they let someone else speak fear into their vision. They shared their dream, hoping for support, but received sarcasm instead. They revealed their plan, craving encouragement, but were met with doubt. And because their belief was not yet solid, they began to question themselves. Do not make this mistake. If you want to win, protect your vision. Keep it close, keep it quiet. There is nothing weak about silence. In fact, it is the armor of the disciplined, it is the defense of the focused. The legend does not announce their next move, they move. And because they are silent, they are immune to distractions. When others are tangled in commentary and criticism, the silent one is working, growing, preparing. Silence becomes your filter. It allows you to separate what matters from what doesn't. It shields you from the opinions of the masses. It blocks the echo of the crowd and lets you hear the whisper of your own intuition. And in that stillness, you strengthen your belief, not because others said it was possible, but because you decided it would be. Think of the mountain climber. He doesn't yell to the crowd every time he takes a step. He does not pause to announce each elevation gained. No, he climbs, he endures, he persists in silence, and when he finally reaches the summit, the world can see what he already knew deep inside, that he was made for the top. You must become that climber. Speak less, do more. Let your silence be the chamber in which your faith grows stronger. Let it be the shelter where doubt cannot reach you. Because the world will try to measure you by what they can see, and if they see nothing, they will assume nothing. But you are not here to meet their expectations. You are here to surpass your own. The man who builds in silence is the man who builds without interference. His work is clean. His mind is clear. He is not concerned with applause or permission. He is concerned only with progress. And that single-minded focus becomes his weapon. The doubters can't reach him because he never gave them access. It is a rare kind of power to keep your mouth closed when the world is begging for your attention. It is strength to say, "You'll see," instead of, "Let me explain." It is wisdom to understand that validation is not fuel. It is a distraction. The fire must come from within, and silence feeds that fire. When you move in silence, you free yourself. You no longer need the approval of others. You no longer fear their rejection. You realize that doubt, once heard, can linger in the mind for days, but if it never enters, it has no power. That is the genius of silence. It denies doubt a doorway. So protect your dream, nurture it in quiet, let your belief grow until it is immovable, let your results speak when you are ready, because then, and only then, will you speak from proof, not promise. And when they finally hear you, it will not be a voice of hope, it will be the roar of certainty. Remain silent, not because you are afraid, but because you are certain. Certain that what you are building in the dark will shine brighter than anything spoken in the light. Progress is not always visible to the eye. In fact, the most powerful momentum often builds quietly, hidden beneath the surface of daily life. One silent action, done with purpose, may not look like much in the moment, but when compounded with consistency, it creates unstoppable force. That's how legends rise, not through grand announcements, but through unseen dedication repeated day after day. Understand this truth: the world does not reward intention, it rewards results. And results are not born from what you talk about, they are born from what you do when no one is watching. Every time you choose to get up early, every time you choose to train, to study, to work while others rest, you are stacking invisible bricks. And though no one sees it now, the day will come when what you've built behind the curtain will command the attention of the stage. Momentum does not arrive with fireworks. It arrives quietly. It is built in moments that seem ordinary. 10 extra minutes of focused effort, one more chapter read, a single decision made with integrity. These moments seem small, but they compound. And the man who honors these quiet moments will soon find himself moving faster, climbing higher, and achieving more than those who only act when the world is watching. You must not fall into the trap of visible validation. Do not look for signs that your work is paying off after every step. A tree does not bear fruit the day after it is planted. It must grow underground, out of sight. Its roots must deepen before its branches can stretch skyward. You are that tree. The roots you grow today, your discipline, your focus, your silence, will sustain the greatness that is coming tomorrow. Most people give up because they cannot see progress. They become addicted to instant gratification and quit when results don't arrive fast enough. But you must be different. You must train yourself to find fulfillment not in praise, but in the act itself. You must fall in love with the process. Not because it is easy, but because it is right. Every silent action taken in faith is a seed planted, and though the seed does not sprout overnight, it is working, silently, steadily, underground, and the one who keeps watering that seed, day in and day out, will one day look up to find a forest where others see only soil. You are not working for applause. You are not moving to impress. You are moving because you know what's coming. You are building because you believe in what no one else can yet see. That is real power. That is real momentum, and it is always born in silence. There will be days when doubt creeps in, days when you wonder if it's worth it, days when the noise of the world tempts you to stop. But if you have built in silence long enough, your momentum will carry you forward even when motivation disappears. That's the gift of invisible progress. It becomes your engine. Imagine a train starting on a cold track. At first, it's slow, heavy, full of resistance, but every rotation of the wheel, no matter how slight, builds energy. Eventually, that train moves with such force that no obstacle can stand in its path. this is how your actions work. At first, the results are minimal, the change feels small, but with every quiet step, your belief grows, your character strengthens, and your energy multiplies, and one day you become unstoppable, not because of one big move, but because of thousands of small silent ones. Do not underestimate the power of showing up, even on the days when you feel tired, even on the days when progress is invisible, especially then, because those are the days that separate the legend from the average. Those are the days that build the kind of momentum no one can fake, because it's earned, not announced. You must train your mind to believe in what is not yet seen. That is the mark of a visionary. That is the mindset of a winner. Because every action taken in silence is not just a task completed, it is a vote cast for the person you are becoming. And the more votes you cast, the clearer your identity becomes. Eventually, your momentum becomes your identity. You will no longer need to force discipline. It will be who you are. You will not chase greatness. It will come to you because you've been moving in silence, building a foundation so strong, so steady that the world cannot ignore it any longer. Let others look for shortcuts. Let them chase attention. Let them burn out in the pursuit of speed. You move with patience, move with clarity, move with quiet intensity, because every silent action you take today is building something you will be proud to live in tomorrow. Keep moving, keep building, even if no one claps, even if no one sees, because momentum never announces itself. It only reveals its power once the work is done. And when the world finally sees what you've created, they will call it sudden success. But you will know the truth, that it was born from countless silent victories. The man who masters his craft is not the one who seeks attention, but the one who directs his attention, quietly, fully, daily. Mastery is never achieved in noise. It is born in stillness. It is not the product of scattered ambition, but a focused effort, and that focus must be pure, unbroken, and uninterrupted by the distractions that consume lesser minds. To rise above mediocrity, you must learn to go deep. The world is full of people who skim the surface. They jump from one thing to the next, looking for shortcuts and praise. But those who master their purpose are who anchor themselves in silence and dig without end. They understand that skill, like a diamond, is found deep below the surface. And only those who stay long enough in solitude uncover its brilliance. Every legend you've ever admired began with focused obscurity. They weren't loud, they weren't celebrated, they were disciplined in silence. They knew that to reach the level of greatness they desired, they had to tune out everything else. They had to sacrifice entertainment for education, comfort for growth, noise for focus. And in that silence, mastery began to bloom. Focus is not just about time, it is about presence. It is about pouring your mind, your heart, and your soul into a single objective, without distraction. In silence, you give your full self to your mission, and in doing so you learn faster, grow deeper, and outperform the world's most talented procrastinators. Talent without focus leads to failure. But average ability with laser focus can produce miracles. The man who commits to quiet mastery becomes dangerous. He is not distracted by applause or criticism. He doesn't announce his next step. He simply becomes better, until he can no longer be ignored. Because while others were watching, talking, and debating, he was working. While they were chasing 1,000 goals, he perfected one. And that one became everything. You must protect your mind like a fortress. Every distraction is a thief. Every interruption is a crack in your foundation. You cannot afford to split your energy across meaningless things. If you desire mastery, you must walk a narrow path, one paved with silence, patience, and repetition. The path may be lonely, but it leads to power. People will not understand your silence. They will question your disappearance. They will wonder why you don't talk much, why you don't explain yourself, why you aren't more social. Let them wonder. You owe no one your noise. What you are building requires solitude. It requires the kind of attention that cannot be shared with trivialities. And when doubt arises, as it always does, return to the power of your focus. Remind yourself that distractions are temporary, but mastery is eternal. The work you put in today, quietly, consistently, will serve you for life. The skill you build in silence will one day speak louder than anything you could say with words. Repetition is your ally. Do not grow tired of doing the same thing every day. Do not resist the monotony. Within repetition lies refinement. With every silent hour, you sharpen the blade. With every deliberate action, you remove weakness. With every focused day, you become more precise, more powerful, more masterful. The journey is long. There are no shortcuts. There are no magic formulas, but there is one undeniable truth: the man who stays focused wins. Not always the fastest, but always the surest, because every day he shows up, he separates himself from the crowd. Every hour he invests in silence is one more brick in the fortress of his mastery. You must fall in love with the process, not for what it gives you today, but for what it makes of you tomorrow. Your future self is shaped by your ability to remain focused now, to work without praise, to strive without acknowledgement, to perfect your craft because you are called to it, not because others are watching. The greatest artists, athletes, leaders, and thinkers all shared this one trading quiet obsession. They did not casually dabble in their calling, they gave themselves fully to it. And that devotion, born in silence, created legacies that echo through history. Your legacy too begins here, in this quiet focus, in this deliberate decision to master your mind, your habits, and your skill. You don't need a stage, you don't need approval, You need commitment, and that commitment is best made in silence, where only you and your purpose exist. In time, the world will see the results. They will admire the product, unaware of the process. But you will know. You will know that while others wasted time, you used it. While they made noise, you made progress. And while they tried to impress, you tried to attract and to improve. Stay focused, stay consistent. That is the path to mastery. The world remembers not the loudest, but the most effective. It forgets the boastful and honors the accomplished. Legends are not born from speeches. They are carved through sweat, through discipline, through silent persistence that produces undeniable results. You will know them not by what they say, but by what they've built, what they've become, and what they've overcome. That is the essence of greatness, letting your results speak the only language that matters. Achievement. Talk is cheap. Everyone can say what they will do. Few can prove what they've done. The man who constantly declares his dreams is often trying to convince himself more than he's trying to inform others. But the man who simply does the work, quietly, ruthlessly, daily, needs no announcement. His actions echo louder than any words ever could. The wise understand that results are the ultimate form of respect. They silence critics. They humble doubters. They answer questions before they're asked. When you arrive at a level few believed you could reach, you never need to explain how you got there. You just point to the outcome, because the scoreboard doesn't lie. The creation speaks for the creator. Let others argue. Let them debate. Let them discuss what might work, what might fail. While they talk, you move. While they post, you practice. While they seek followers, you seek mastery. And one day, your life will become the proof they never expected. Because while they were fixated on sounding successful, you were becoming it. The legend understands the power of proof. He doesn't beg others to believe. He gives them no choice. He builds the evidence. And when the evidence is undeniable, even the most skeptical voices grow quiet. That is how power is earned in this world, not by seeking approval, but by becoming so great they can't deny you. This is why silence is not weakness, it's strategy. It's choosing not to waste breath on promises when energy can be invested in execution. Every second spent explaining yourself is a second lost from creation, and if you truly believe in what you're doing, you don't need to talk, you just need time, because eventually, time turns work into results, and results do the speaking for you. Understand this: people will always question your vision, until they can't. They'll laugh at your small beginnings, they'll doubt your quiet persistence. But once the results arrive, the laughter stops, the doubt dissolves. The silence shifts from skepticism to respect, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. When your work is real, it doesn't need hype. The impact it creates cannot be faked. You cannot Photoshop discipline. You cannot disguise mastery. You cannot fake resilience. These are built in the shadows and revealed in the light. And when the spotlight finally finds you, it won't be because you chased it. It will be because you prepared for it. You must become addicted to progress, not praise. You must fall in love with the metrics of your own growth, not the opinions of others. Because the crowd is fickle. One day they cheer, the next they doubt. But progress never lies. It reflects the truth of who you are and what you've done. Think of the blacksmith. He doesn't boast about how strong the blade will be. He simply hammers, again and again. He endures the heat. He strikes with precision. He refines through repetition. And when he's finished, the weapon speaks for itself. That is how you must operate. Let every action be a strike. Let every day be part of the forging, until the results gleam so brightly that the world has no choice but to recognize your craft. And when that moment comes, when the results finally emerge from the silence, accept it with humility, for you will know that what they see in a day took years to build in the dark. Let your success be a whisper to the man you used to be. We did it. Not loudly, not boastfully, but with quiet conviction. You owe the world no performance. Your job is not to entertain, it is to become. And when you become what few dare to imagine, your life becomes a living testament, a message without words, a monument without speeches. That is how legends are made. So don't waste your voice on those who won't understand. Don't trade your focus for attention. Don't try to convince the world of your greatness. Build something so undeniable they convince themselves. Let the scoreboard speak. Let the product speak. Let the transformation speak. Because the most powerful words you'll ever say are the ones you never have to. In a world full of noise, become a result. Let that be your voice. There is a kind of power that does not announce itself. It does not need to. It moves quietly, precisely, and with deep intent. The most transformative decisions in life are not made in noise, but in silence. The most powerful moves are not made in public. They're made behind closed doors, when no one is watching, when no one believes, when no one even knows you're still in the game. That is where the real shift begins. Greatness does not explode into existence. It evolves through a series of quiet, relentless, uncelebrated moves. The world does not see the decision to wake up early, to show up when tired, to study when everyone else is distracted. It does not witness the moment you say no to compromise, or the discipline it takes to resist temptation. But these silent moments are where empires are born. These are the secret moves that lead to public victories. You must understand this deeply. Power does not beg to be seen. It does not need validation to feel real. In fact, it is most potent when hidden, most dangerous when quiet. That's why true winners move like shadows. You don't know what they're building until it's done. You don't see what they've overcome until the results scream louder than words ever could. Noise is the enemy of precision. If you want to make powerful moves, you must silence the world around you, and even more importantly, the world inside you. The voices of doubt, of fear, of ego must be silenced. Because to make the kind of decisions that change your life, you need to hear only one voice, the voice of truth, and that voice only speaks in silence. Every time you choose to act in silence, you regain control of your power. You are no longer performing for others. You are no longer moved by applause or fear of criticism. You are moved only by purpose, and purpose, when aligned with quiet action, becomes unstoppable force. That's why the most dangerous individual is not the one who speaks the loudest, it's the one you never saw coming. Those who constantly speak of their plans rarely complete them. They drain their energy explaining instead of executing. But the silent warrior saves every ounce of his energy for the battle. He doesn't tell you what he's going to do, he just does it. And when the results appear, they don't need an introduction, they speak for themselves, and they speak with authority. You must train yourself to value silence, not as absence but as presence, because in silence, you become deeply aware of what matters, you start to see clearly, you begin to move intentionally, and every move you make in that state is powerful, calculated, and rooted in strength. Think of the great moves of history, the innovations, the breakthroughs, the personal transformations. They were not born on stages, they were born in silent study, in tireless work, in lonely nights of effort and vision. The world saw the result, but never the process. You must fall in love with that process. It is sacred, it is where your destiny is shaped. Most people reveal their intentions too early. They talk about their dreams before they protected them, and in doing so, they expose them to criticism, to doubt, to noise that can weaken the very foundation of those dreams. But the wise man moves in silence. He builds in silence. He waits until the dream has taken such strong root that no storm can shake it. There is strategy in silence, the element of surprise, the protection of energy, the avoidance of distraction. When you move in silence, you become unpredictable. No one knows your next move, and that gives you power. While others are being watched, judged, and influenced, you are free to evolve, free to outgrow the person you once were without asking for permission or applause. Powerful moves also require a deep inner stillness, a level of maturity that can say, I don't need the world to see me, I need to see myself. That self-awareness is where transformation begins. That is where you stop being a product of the environment and begin shaping the environment itself. You are not here to impress, you are here to impact, and impact is never born from noise. It is born from clarity, consistency, and courage, all cultivated in silence. Don't be afraid to disappear for a while, to go dark, to be unseen. Sometimes to shine the brightest, you must first step into the shadows and build without interruption. And when the moment is right, when your foundation is strong, when the vision is refined and your skills are sharp, you'll step into the light not to be seen, but to lead, not to perform, but to deliver, not to prove, but to fulfill. So move in silence. Think in silence, decide in silence, and act with the power that comes only from inner certainty, because the most powerful moves are never shouted, they are shown, quietly, boldly, unforgettably.